All right, long-term versus short-term thought process. Sometimes we're worried about what's happening in the instant, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to talk about really the long term. What should we be looking for? How are we a long-term investor? But as we get started, this is a financial education presentation. You must do your own due diligence on anything you hear in this presentation. More disclaimer information can be found on ankerstarwealth.com, and the opinions expressed are mine and Corey's alone. So I'll start off, and I'm going to talk about the biggest mistake, and this is an article, the biggest mistake that young or new investors make. And I'm going to say a lot of this has to do with short-term thinking, but in the article they talk about the intimidation of investing, and Josh Brown covers this. I think it's really interesting. So when you are a new investor, or let's just say you're a new consumer of a certain product, and I'll use the example of if I go to Walmart and I want to buy some kind of new jelly, and there's 100 choices of jelly. I'm frozen with not quite sure what to pick. And um, and it's the same thing when you get into investing. When you first start, you're on your own. What do I get? Like, sure, of course, I want all the things that went up and made lots and lots of money, but there's so many choices out there. And what do people tend to do? This would be the mistake Josh talks about is they're not fully invested in stocks. They start taking too many conservative things, or not knowing that that investment's going to sit for 50 years and they got plenty of time for it to grow. So investing can be complicated at the beginning. Now, what leads that? This is where I'm going to go into the short term because this came out like 7 minutes ago. So we see things in the short term. The Dow drops 270 points. Whoa! If I'm a new investor, I don't even know exactly what the Dow and 270 points is, but this sounds bad, right? Uh, you know, you know, and I know for you long-term investors, you're like, boy, yeah, this is nothing compared to what happened with tariff time back in April. But is this causes people to be very concerned and to end up staying in very conservative investments for way too long. So Corey, I'm focused on the short term now, and Corey's going to take the long term in a moment. But what do you think, Corey? Is news helpful for investing or maybe hurtful?
Well, oh, well, certainly useless. I mean, it's useless if you're trying to evaluate, the viability of an investment over a long period of time. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And what I'll tell people who are under 40 is like the best thing that could possibly happen to you would be a long sustained market crash, right? Where you get to buy things for cheap for an extended period of time. I mean, that would be like the best gift ever. So yeah, you want to, any bad news is kind of good for younger investors. Now, for people who are in retirement and wanting to be successful, when they have to make withdrawals, then that's a little scarier at that point.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting as you look at the headline on my screen there. It says Trump threatens massive tariff hike on China over rare earth dispute. It's kind of like the merging or intersection of two topics. We talked lots and lots about tariffs several months ago, and then
Oh yeah.
just yesterday we talked about rare earth metals and things like that. And then so here you go. You have a issue that comes up, and then let's call tariffs. I mean, if I remember correctly, some of these tariffs are getting struck down as they can't really do them. But threatens. Threatens is not the same thing as implements.
Yeah.
So it's just very, when it comes to investing, you have to kind of be even keel, not panicked or not over enthused by the markets. That's when you get the FOMO, like, wow, I better get into Palantir now since it's up 700% in a year or whatever. I better go all in on NVIDIA now that it's already, hit, all-time highs. So, I don't know. News, I'll say, is it's very interesting to read, but it's always what is actionable, and that's some of what we're determining. Now, things that do impact us, when we see news on inflation and Fed discounts rates, and that is more important news to me. But anyways, that's short term, and that's a concern that new investors would be impacted by. So, but take us to long term, because that's really what we want to think about, Corey.
Mike, listen real quick on that too. That's one reason why you want to avoid leverage in the stock market, or investing on margin, or even, depending on how you do it, even owning shorter dated calls and option strategies, because you get a little bit of volatility, right? Like in this case, one individual posted a post on something called Truth Social, and then you get, a little bit of volatility, and that can be dangerous for people who are using those strategies. Here, let me.
Now, when you say one individual post on Truth Social, are you talking Donald Trump? Isn't Truth Social his platform, and is he the one individual?
He was in this case, but volatility can come from anywhere. It's not always. I mean, don't get me wrong. DJT can stir it up now with the best of them, I would say. But
and I will say, if you're a new investor and you're starting to think anything about options, 0-day options, all like that, don't do it. Please take a big step back and understand what you're doing before you even look at things like that, or leverage, like what Corey said, leverage. If you're a young investor,
you can get wiped out.
You have all the leverage you need, and that you have 40 or 50 years to invest. That's the beneficiary kind of investing. You do not need to leverage your money in the short term. So please.
That's right. Here, let me share this. So yeah, talking long term. I don't know if Mike, you're still sharing. Okay, talking long term. So let's say you're an investor and you want to, you're like, oh, I like technology. I believe that, it's the future. You get faster growth rates. That's where the innovation is. That's kind of your thing. Well, there was a period of time, call it 25 years, where you had no outperformance, had you bought the peak, right, of the dot-com bubble into what was a new all-time high on a relative basis between technology and the S&P 500 just in the past year or two. So you really had to wait it out to get back to even. Now, of course, because of the added volatility, Mike and I have articulated a few times on the show, if you're dollar cost averaging all along the way, your break-even point is way, way earlier than what's on the screen here. So the dollar cost averaging is the superpower. Volatility, is what gives us that superpower. And then, of course, working and saving is how you take advantage of it. So this is one where, you had a long period of underperformance. Do you think there were any quarters or years in here, Mike, where somebody looked and they were like, oh, wow, the S&P 500 was this and I was way under that? Do you think that happened?
Yeah, I think I did that myself.
Okay, so I just want to highlight that idea that, outperformance over a lifetime doesn't always correlate with outperformance in a given week or a given month, or even a given year, or in this case, even a given 2 decades, decades of underperformance in a sense, just to get back to outperformance over a lifetime. Here's that other one. Gold, you locked in at least a decade of underperformance relative to the Dow Jones. If you were benchmarking yourself against the Dow Jones, which is one of those top indices, before now you've broken out to new all-time highs, or at least multi-decade highs on a relative basis. So just highlighting the fact that if you have conviction in something and it's been underperforming for a month, a year, 2 years. Is it over for that investment? Absolutely not. These things play out over long time frames. Here's one right now, Mike, that's been underperforming for a few years. It's a single stock that I think eventually is going to get to new all-time highs relative to the S&P 500. We saw a peak in Amazon versus the S&P 500 in 2020, a relative peak. And then we kind of bottomed out there on a relative basis, Amazon versus the S&P 500 in 2022. Now, how long is it before we get to new all-time highs with Amazon relative to the S&P 500? I don't know. Could it be 1 year, 2, 3? Sure, it could be any of those. It could be even longer. But as a long-term investor, I do believe you haven't seen the end of this story here. So I was talking to a guy, Mike, get this. I was talking to a guy. He's on Amazon for 3 years or 4 years or something. And he's like, man, compared to all these other Mag 7 stocks, it just is the worst. It's the worst one. I'm out of it. I've sold out of my Amazon. I've moved over to, I forgot what he moved over to. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's why these things play out like this, right? It's because people are short-term thinking. They want to blow out of something high quality that will beat the index over long periods of time. They want to blow out of it because of the short-term underperformance. And that's actually what creates a drag on the stock price, right? People are looking at it, they're selling, and then over time, the long-term investors have the advantage. So anyway, that's it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's very interesting, especially it's one thing when you look at an indice like the S&P 500 or the Dow or something like that. Individual stocks are and I'll even say gold is really not the same as an individual stock because gold will always be there. Individual stocks, Amazon's a fantastic company, Apple, Nvidia. I mean, these are great companies. But sometimes a company's business model is become obsolete, or their competitor is crushing them. And we're not saying you necessarily hold that forever. You could have held what is it, Xerox or Kodak, all the way down. All the way down to it went bankrupt. So it definitely makes sense on an indice level. Stock level, you need a little bit more analysis.
Of course.
But obviously, gold this year has taken off with a reason is that our deficit is up so high. So there is a reason for it, not just because gold got popular or jewelry is more in demand. So, All right, everybody have a great weekend.
Hey, Mike, the whole time we've been talking, this Truth Social post is sending us lower. We got to get off of here. I think we got to put a stop to it.
We need to get this video out to all of our viewers and counteract that because we have just as many subscribers, right?
Long-term focus.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.